I'd like to take a minute to talk about why I built TwitGrid. What is TwitGrid? TwitGrid is a simple broadsheet view of the Twitter users you care about with no algorithmic surfacing and only infinite scrolling if you want to dig into a specific feed. It's a view into Twitter that isn't driven by their metrics on engagement or how long you spend on the site. It uses the public API and lets you get in, scan the feeds you want in a predictable order, and get out. Let's address the algorithmic surfacing first. TweetDeck will surface posts endlessly to attract your attention to a feed that it curates. The opaque algorithm controls the timing and the content. Here's my normal Twitter feed. It decides when to load new content and push content downwards. If I'm not paying attention all of the time, it will continue to load new things. It wants my focus. Here's what that looks like over the course of a few minutes. You're not really in control. Now let's talk about infinite scrolling, or the tyranny of small units. I built TwitGrid because I think that my memory works in terms of blocks where each page of feeds is a full unit that I can scan quickly. On TwitGrid, if nothing's changed, everything stays right where it is. I cannot stress how important that is. There's no sense of urgency or panic that rises in me if I don't finish reading a tweet before the next tweets are loaded. Because I have as much time as I want, I remember the posts I've seen in context to other things a user has posted. I remember the pictures I've already seen. They're like map markers. Infinite scrolling doesn't help me do this. I'm never quite sure if I've seen things there before because there's no surrounding context for me to grab onto. If I press reload, it's not clear to me that the feed will load in the same order. TweetDeck is like a cup with a hole in the bottom of it that refills without you realizing it. TwitGrid lets you read further into single user feeds, but you have to consciously decide and click to load more. Now let's talk about a pet peeve of mine, horizontal scrolling. Horizontal scrolling is my least favorite way to navigate anything because there's no sensible keyboard or mouse shortcut for doing it on a page-by-page basis. You always have to use a mouse, which is idiotic. Maybe this works for Kanban boards, but TweetDeck is the opposite of a Kanban board. It's there to distract you in no particular order. I do have some compliments for TweetDeck. TweetDeck has more power by far than what I've created, and it can dig much deeper into retweets and replies from users you follow, so it has its advantages. If keeping on top of the latest hashtag topics is important to you, TweetDeck is one of the main ways to do it, besides going to third-party services like Feeder. But for quick, occasional Twitter consumption, I think a viewer that updates a bit less frequency has its place. Now, if there were only a way to get hashtag topics to show up in the public API. Anyways, if you want to try TwitGrid out, the links are in the video description below. Thanks for watching.